All right, hey, how's it going? This is me back again with the fifth episode of Shooting from the Hip. This one I'd like to discuss. What I'd like to do is a lot of people are really confused, especially in light of Disney purchasing out Lucasfilms and the rights to all the new Star Wars movies and such. A lot of people are confused by you got Star Wars, and then you have the expanded universe, which it gets really way out there and all this stuff, and it's hard to, like I say, regular old guys and gals are like, what the crap is going on with this, and what does all this stuff mean about they're doing away with the comic books and they're going to just start fresh. What exactly are they talking about? Well, I'm not going to get into all the whole huge specifics of it, but I just figure that it's before. Oh, I swear, I hope that we don't get some kind of Star Wars on ice going with the freaking Disney guys. You better do this right. I'm telling you, don't toy with this. I mean, you've got three really big science fiction franchises out there. Obviously, there's the Star Trek, and there's the Star Wars, and those are like two of the huge. They make up almost all of the big a majority of science fiction fans. Star Wars, Star Trek, and then of course you've got the rest of them. Obviously your Battlestar Galactica. Katie Sackhoff, if you're watching this, yes, I'm available if that's not brutally apparent by now. Yes, I will marry you. Anyways, your Battlestar Galactica, you've got your all these other sub-franchises. Obviously I'm a big Stargate fan. I love Stargate, especially SG-1, big MacGyver fan, so I obviously love him being in there as the taking over Kurt Russell's spot. Love that stuff. Love it. All that kind of stuff that's going on. You've got a lot of that, but basically, like I'm saying, you've got Star Trek and you've got Star Wars. It's the big two here. Okay, so if you don't want to alienate one of your big two audiences here, okay? So Disney, if you're listening to me, this is an open letter to you guys. Okay, Casey is up at bat. There's two outs, and it's in the bottom of the ninth, and you guys are going to need a grand slam, Disney. So don't screw this up, okay? Because you can only do it once, all right? All right, and you screw it up, and you mess with your target audience here, and you're asking for some trouble, okay? But I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, and I'm probably, I'm at least going to see the first one. But if I swear to everything that is holy, if I even hear Star Wars on ice, I will storm the castle myself, by God. So don't even make me have to do that, because I will do it. I love this thing too much. But anyways, let me break this thing down for you in layman's terms so that everybody can enjoy this stuff. And I won't get it too confusing, but I'm just going to break it down to where the everyday dude or gal is walking the street can finally figure out all the hubbub about the Star Wars. This is your Cliff Notes to the Star Wars universe. You're welcome. Okay, basically, alright, you've got the Star Wars universe here. And we all by this time know about the Force, which is the force, the underlying current that supplies the life force of all known things, metachlorians and all these things, where all the different things have a certain amount of metachlorians, and if one is so predisposed, they have the ability to manipulate the metachlorians of another life force, pulling it towards them and all these different things. And anyways, a long story short, this is called the Force and being able to use it. Okay. Alright, so as history goes along, we have people that are finally called the Jedi. Okay, and we all know about them, the Jedi. Well, years and ages past, and the Jedi have honed their skills and they've learned about how to use the Force. Well, obviously, eventually we have this one guy, and he learns just through chance that there's a few things that he had never learned before using the Force, and it was but he could tell it was a different side, something that caused a change in him that he really didn't understand. And so he went, of course, to the Jedi Council with these findings, and obviously they slapped the old hand here, and he's like, "What are you doing, man? What, are you crazy?" And they said, "You cannot study these things." And then the guy was like, "Well, I don't understand why. I mean, it's our job to kind of shouldn't we try to learn as much as we can about this Force and use it for at least what good we can get from it? I mean, why hide from it? Why not at least try to understand, I guess, this, as you would call it, dark, as we all know, the dark side. Of course, they're not calling it dark side now, because obviously they didn't know that's what it was, but he could understand that it was allowing him to do some new abilities, some things that he could not fully understand, but yet it was exhilarating because he had never been taught this. And so basically they said, no, you cannot do this. But a few following, this guy and several people that also kind of took after what this guy was saying, said, well, I think that this is just stupid. I think that they're just scared of it. You always fear the unknown, and fear actually that's kind of weird how fear leads towards the dark side. Kind of weird play in there. I think they're just trying to keep it from us and use it for themselves. And they're jealous because we learned it now, and they're not wanting to teach us anything about it, and so they're trying to keep it from us. Okay, so anyways, you have this small little faction of also Jedi that say, well, that's just bullcrap. So they start secretly studying this Force that we eventually come to know as the dark side of the Force. And anyways, this is discovered, and the Jedis, that somebody has peed in their Cheerios and they are ticked. Well, they banish these guys. They are now called Dark Jedi. And they banish these guys and say, get the crap out of here. So these Dark Jedis are like, huh! Well, we'll just show you. So seething with anger already. Which is, a common side effect, if you haven't noticed by now, by this dark side. These Dark Jedi leave to another part of the galaxy, and they come upon this planet inhabited by a race known as the Sith. Now, these Sith people have a very curious predisposition to the dark side of the Force. A midichlorian count, obviously, but they can use, as the Dark Jedi, eventually, after they subjugate the race of the Sith and intermix with them and interbreed and such over time, they teach the Sith, and the Sith race is very quick to learn the dark side, and they're very apt with it, more so than even some of the Dark Jedi themselves. It seems like the dark side itself has really taken to this race of the Sith. And as the more powerful ones grow, they are called Sith Lords, or Dark Lords of the Sith. Is that a term that you may not know now? Well, eventually, as these Dark Jedi and the Sith over time intermingle, they both kind of intermingle together, and they become one and the same. The old Dark Jedi and the Sith have now become the same thing, and these new race of people that can wield the dark side of the Force at will, and their elected leaders are ruthless, and of course the leaders are called Darth Lords of the Sith, and their name that they will be Darth, obviously. Well, anyways, but all this time and all these centuries of the interbreeding and the training and the Sith and the Dark Jedi combining and training and learning about the dark side, they still maintain that jealousy, that mistrust of the Jedi, that willingness to enact revenge one of these days of being wronged, and of that they were being held down. This also carries on through the generations, that the Jedi were the ones that did this to them and had kept them from knowing all the full knowledge of the Force. So this also comes through the ages. So you see now how this kind of comes about. Well, eventually, and we'll get, all long story short, there's a whole universe of this. I'm skipping through like a daisy here. But eventually, you get a guy by the name of Darth Bane. And he decides to consolidate the watered down power of the dark side. Which, it just, as you say, the more that people use the dark side, the more that it's spread out, the weaker it becomes. Well, Darth Bane decides that all of these other Dark Lords, using the dark side of the power, are taking away power that could be his. So he sets about kicking butt. Not only that, when he does this and consolidating power into just himself, Darth Bane sets up a president that will lead on until the time of what you people now will understand. The rule of the two. The rule of two of the Sith. The ancient Sith order. Instituted by Darth Bane. That there shall be two. Until we can finally enact our revenge on the Jedi. Because Darth Bane knew, number one, I need to kill all of these other Dark Lords to consolidate power, and all of the dark side of the power I can have. Number one. Number two, if there's a whole bunch of us, eventually the Jedi will be able to detect us and could possibly destroy us again. So we need stealth as our enemy, as our ally. We need the shadows. We need secrecy. So Darth Bane decides to institute the rule of two, and the law of two. There shall be a master, and there shall be an apprentice. And the only way that will change is when the apprentice kills the master, taking all the master's power and becoming the master himself. And then eventually, he shall take on an apprentice himself. Now we know Jedis take on several apprentices, but the Sith, like I said, this way the Sith will only have two, and they can remain in the shadows and in secrecy until finally they can enact revenge on the Jedi. And another thing, they will, upon taking the mantle of master, he gets a Sith name. Darth Sidious, Darth Vader. He must take a new name because he is now a new creation in the Sith belief system. And like Vader was a Dark Lord of the Sith, upon becoming an apprentice, he is now named, since there's no other ones now, he is a Dark Lord of the Sith. Now, being a master and an apprentice, there are two Dark Lords of the Sith. So anyways, now that brings you up to speed to the movies, but I just wanted to break that down for you. That's how it all came about, so you can kind of understand layman's terms how the history of the Sith and how the Dark Jedi all came about and how the dark side was discovered. And anyways, in a galaxy far, far away, guys, that's where this came from. And hopefully Disney does it right. May the Force be with you always.